Hello and welcome to Cover Story. I have with me Baijayant Jay Panda. He is the National Vice President of the BJP. He is in charge of Assam and Delhi. But more importantly, Jay Panda, today we are speaking to you because you are, heading one of the 7 delegations that India is sending out to explain, I think, our narrative to the rest of the world. Your delegation is going to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Algeria. I think the MENA countries. One of the reasons why I want to have this conversation is because there is a view that while we have won the war militarily, where we have lost is the global narrative. Is that one of the reasons that India is sending out all these delegations?
Not at all. Not only have we not lost the narrative, if you look at the trajectory of how past wars have gone, you could have very well argued that in some of the situations. This time, for example, the Pakistani defense minister has, pardon my words, made a fool of himself on international television, and all their claims of having inflicted damage on India have been questioned by major media and personalities around the world because they don't have anything to back it up. They don't have satellite imagery, they don't have cross-referenced information, and they have all kinds of wild allegations. So I think that has in fact cost their credibility even more. I mean, they didn't have very much credibility to begin with. Whereas anything that India has said has been very clear, has been very precise, has been backed up by satellite imagery, has been backed up by very clear communication. So that's not the issue. And let me make it clear, it's not only when you are losing the narrative should you be going out. We have a track record. Remember back in the day when Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji as opposition leader had gone out and spoke for India. So, of course, militarily, we have imposed a very heavy cost on Pakistan, but we have done much more than that. So, the nuclear bluff has been steadily called in the last decade. It happened with the surgical strikes, happened more so with Balakot. Definitely this time around, the nuclear bluff has been called. And that's one way we have won the narrative also, apart from the military gains. The second way we have won the narrative is, look at how many countries actually came out to support Pakistan. Literally a couple. Now, in the past, I can name you, for example, there are other nations in Southeast Asia who in past conflicts have openly sided with Pakistan. But because of our economic sanctions policy, they have stayed neutral. So, narrative-wise, we are on a much stronger footing. And, the Prime Minister himself has spent more than a decade building these relationships around the world, including in the Middle East and West Asia. So, it's very, very clear that nations that used to very openly side with Pakistan this time haven't done so. Many have come out in favor of India. But nevertheless, this is necessary because we need to keep the narrative going for the following reason. And I'll conclude with this. Pakistan's game plan is pretty much the same every time, that they create a provocation with a horrible terrorist attack. When India retaliates, they first claim innocence. After many months later, they acknowledge the facts. Then they seek intervention, they escalate and they seek intervention from others to try and stop it. So all that happens within a very compressed period of time. Now, our interest is that there should be no further conflict and the terrorists that Pakistan nurtures should be exterminated from there. So our challenge is to take it to the world that, look, we know you have other distractions. You have a war going on in Europe. You have a war going on in Gaza. You have trade being reset all over the world. But this is very important because it affects other nations too. Pakistan's connection with terrorism doesn't only pinch India. Look at 9/11. Look at so many other instances around the world.
But this didn't come out, for instance, look at the way, are you also trying to undo some of the damage Trump has done? Because this hasn't come down, the denunciation of Pakistan as a terrorist state has not come out very clearly in the reactions we got from other countries. Even the 2 countries that you are visiting, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, for instance, they've given a very nuanced statement. Look,
the whole world knows Pakistan is a terror sponsor. Look, where was Osama bin Laden found? Everybody knows that. Okay, these terrorists who are running around in Pakistan, they are sanctioned by the UN. So, calling out something which is obvious, which has been called out repeatedly, and you are saying this time is a little nuanced, I don't think that matters much. What matters very clearly is that, look, no state supports Pakistan's fomenting of terror. Now, they have their own geopolitical interests, they take their own steps, that's different. We in India, we must stand up for our interest. Now, Clearly, everybody acknowledges that Pakistan has paid a heavy cost in the damage to the air bases, in the demonstration of the capabilities of our firepower and the precision. Now, we could have wiped out a lot more. The idea was to send a message. Message has gone out loud and clear that this is a different India. This is a new India. And there will be zero tolerance. I think the world has understood very clearly that any further misadventures by Pakistan will not require 3 weeks of planning for a retaliation.
So is this the part of the message that you're going to be taking, that the new normal that India is now going to be, the zero tolerance to terrorism, which we've already demonstrated in the last few attack responses?
The new normal has been gradually getting redefined over the past decade. The calling of the nuclear bluff, the retaliation without reaching any nuclear threshold, the fact that we are capable of hitting pinpointed, until Balakot, there had been no airstrike in Pakistan for half a century.
Right.
So these are all new normals. Let's remember something. During Kargil, India's economy was 7 times the size of Pakistan. During Balakot, it was 9 times the size of Pakistan. Today, our economy is 11 times the size of Pakistan. We are the fastest growing economy, 5th largest, soon becoming 3rd largest. Pakistan is a terrible laggard. The rest of the world has understood the following. India is the future. They have a vested interest in India's success because of the realigning trade situation, and they all consider Pakistan a problem. And that's the way they approach it. They handle Pakistan with kid gloves because it's a problem. They handle India with respect and respond to our narratives because it's in their interest as well.
Okay, Saudi Arabia, because that is where Prime Minister was, I think, on 22nd April. Trump has just come from there also. So what is the message that, in terms, do you have a tailored message specific to each country that you're visiting?
All over the world, Prime Minister Modi has reset our relationships. Over the past 11 years, he has slogged incessantly, going around the world, having built personal rapport. I mean, the late Prime Minister Abe of Japan was a great example. Let's look at Saudi Arabia and the Middle East and West Asia. Saudi Arabia itself is being transformed. It's a very different nation today than it has been for many decades. And His Excellency Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been changing that country into a very different modern kind of country. Look, most of these nations have awarded our Prime Minister, many of these nations have awarded our Prime Minister their highest civilian honor. They have made changes which celebrates the Indian diaspora. Who could have imagined that for the Indian diaspora, temples would be built in some of these countries? Whereas in Pakistan, which is one of the most original areas of Hinduism going back thousands of years, the Pakistani state has decimated not only the Hindu community, but other minority communities like Christians and Sikhs, destroyed temples. The contrast couldn't be more stark. So you can see the realignments that are taking place.
So how do you understand the compulsions for that behind that IMF loan, given the fact that Pakistan is recognized as a terror state, given the fact that, we were definitely the victims here, that narrative of Pahalgam was there for everybody to see. They didn't even postpone the loan, if nothing else, they could have rescheduled that meeting. Even Japan voted for them.
India doesn't need to justify itself to anybody. Our track record is there for all to see. Even, not just going back to decades, remember Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's bus journey.
Yes.
Remember the outreach made by many other leaders. Remember Prime Minister Modi also in his first 1 year, making immense efforts to court Pakistan, to fight poverty together. We don't have to justify ourselves to anybody. The world recognizes Pakistan as a problem child because it's the only rogue state that has nuclear capability. And unlike other countries, Pakistan has gone around saying for decades that India is an existential threat, which is not true, but even if they were to believe it, when they have nuclear weapons, then India should no longer be an existential threat. So it should have led to a détente, if not full peace. Now, not only has it not led to détente or peace, what it has led to is Pakistan misusing the nuclear capability as blackmail. Now, look, what does $1 billion of IMF aid really mean? There are small Indian companies which raise much more than that on a quarterly basis. So Pakistan is in a deep mess. I think there is one issue here that needs addressing. A lot of the world happens to think that a stable Pakistan is in everybody's interest.
Yeah, I want.
Now, we have also tried that for many decades. We have also wanted Pakistan's stability. But a stable Pakistan, look, I have met many Pakistanis. I have met senior leaders, I have met business people, I have met academics and civil society. Most of them are rational and they want peace. But their army is in a totally different situation because they own that country. They have the kind of control over that economy out of which army generals become millionaires. They grab land, they control companies, they control cricket, everything. They don't want to give that up. So the reality is that many countries still seem to think that they want to find some kind of a soft landing, as it were, for Pakistan. But we have come to the point of zero tolerance. Prime Minister Modi has made it very clear, zero tolerance, no more talks, no more trade, no more ships coming in, no more visas,
No more
nothing
water.
until you reform. And if you don't reform, every time there's an attack, we will not take time to plan. We will have our actions ready and immediately exact a cost.
I have an out-of-course question for you, which is, how do you see the way forward? Yes, zero tolerance is there, but how do you translate that on the ground? There could be, Pakistan will of course disclaim any, association with any other future terror attack. We will go with the proof.
No, they
But
won't.
there has to be some,
No, so
is there a diplomatic way out?
let me answer that.
Or is this a military way out?
So I have had the experience in my 25 years in Parliament with many track 2 dialogues. So I've participated in maybe 80 track 2 dialogues around the world with the US, with China, with Japan, Australia, Pakistan, Korea, and about 50 of them I've had the privilege of leading the Indian parliamentary delegation.
Okay.
I have had track 2 dialogue with Pakistan maybe 20-25 times, and I gave up. I lost interest. I think track 2 serves a great deal of purpose with rational countries. With Pakistan, it doesn't serve a purpose because of a continual cycle. Now, you said they don't acknowledge terror. Actually, they do, but 6 months later. See, if you look at it, every time there's a terror attack, and this was my experience in track 2 with Pakistan, we would meet, there would have been a terror attack, maybe on a consulate, Indian consulate in Afghanistan. Okay. They would say, no, that's not us. We'd say, look at your track record. They'd say, yes, we used to do all these bad things. Just like their defense minister has said that they used to do the dirty work of having terrorists, right? Now, they say, we used to do that, but now we don't. This is not us. And, you have to give us a dignified exit. 6 months later, when we had the next round of track 2, they would acknowledge that earlier terror attack because by that time, lots of facts and figures would have come out. But by that time, a new attack would have happened. And they would say, no, this one, that is all history. So, the world knows what Pakistan is. American leaders, including President Trump, including the chief of the combined armed forces, the joint chiefs, including many others, have called them out. Many former Pakistani diplomats and politicians have written books about Pakistan's perfidies. There's nothing left to be exposed with Pakistan. So I'll tell you what it is. As somebody who has participated in so many dialogues, I firmly believe talks are not the way forward with Pakistan. Because the people there may want peace, but those who control that country don't have an interest in peace. Yes. The only thing that matters is actions and to change their motivations, to change their incentives by actions. Now, if Pakistan truly wants peace, talks are not required. They can very easily start by seriously taking action against these terrorists who are UN sanctioned, who are roaming around. Now, India has made it clear many times that if Pakistan is sincere about peace, we will meet them more than halfway. But they have to want to change first.
Okay, I would love to go on with this conversation. We are out of time, but one quick question on domestic politics. We've seen the Congress party. First, you ask them for a list of names. When they give a list of names, you decide to choose only one name from that list, and you have, you choose 3 other names. One of them being Shashi Tharoor, whom the Congress doesn't want going on that delegation. So, what is the message being sent out by the ruling party here?
I won't comment on what the Congress is saying or some other parties are saying. I will only say this. There has been remarkable unity demonstrated by everyone across the spectrum. You see it, not just BJP spokespersons, but many in the opposition parties have spoken out. Not just in politics, across the spectrum, across society, there's been remarkable unity. This is a very important factor because we are not just the world's largest democracy, we are the world's largest democracy ever in history, in the history of humankind. And we are diverse and we are huge. So people expect us to have a great variety of opinions, and we do in domestic politics. But the fact that when it comes to Bharat's interest, when it comes to national interest, we are all Indians first and foremost. So I'm not going to respond to any of these comments that are going on. These delegations, so for example, in my delegation, we have Ghulam Nabi Azad, we have Nishikant Dubey, we have Asaduddin Owaisi.
Part of the housekeeping is going to keeping Nishikant Dubey and Asaduddin Owaisi on the same page.
No, I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think you have a challenging task ahead of you.
I don't think so. I think, these are all friends of mine. All of these senior and leaders from other parties, I have known for decades.
That's true.
And I can tell you one thing, that we are all going to speak as Indians first and foremost, not coming from which party, what seniority. That doesn't matter at all. And that itself, I think, is the biggest message.
I think the one takeaway for me here is, we always say BJP lacks the bench strength. But, hearing Mr. Panda speak, the eloquence which he spoke, I think the answer to that question at least comes through, which is one reason I think why they've chosen you to head one of the delegations. So wish you all the luck, Jay Panda, and thank you for this conversation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.